Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Morning.
Let me close this out. How is everybody doing this morning?
Good.
It's a beautiful day outside for right now.
Yeah.
We've had great weather this spring so far, except I feel like the last week or so it's been quite rainy and unpredictable. At any rate, yes, we did. The plants are happy.
Yeah.
Plants are very happy. Welcome to Coffee Talk this morning. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, we are Southborough Youth and Family Services, coming to you for our second episode live streaming. Thank you for bearing with us on our technical difficulties. Who am I? I'm Sarah Castle. I'm the Director of Southborough Youth and Family Services. And with me this morning, we have Megan Island, who is our Assistant Director. And we also have Shannon Knyman, our Program Coordinator. And we're thrilled to have our good friend, Kim Ivers. Kim is the Children's Librarian at the Southborough Public Library. And we're excited to have you here this morning, Kim. Cheers, everyone. Good morning. I've got my youth and family coffee cup.
Nice.
Yes.
Well,
This
thank
is
you
the
for
only...
having me on today.
Oh, sure.
I'm
It's
happy
our
to be
pleasure.
here.
Oh, good, good, good. Kim is very well versed in using Facebook Live for all the story times that she does on Facebook. So
Clearly we're not.
Yes.
Problems as well.
Oh, good. Well, that makes us feel better. That makes us feel better. So our goal on Coffee Talk, we like to say every time, is an opportunity to reconnect with each other, opportunities to share a laugh, to get helpful information, and also to introduce different folks from our community who you may not know, and learn about some of the different services that are available to Southborough residents and even residents in neighboring communities. So we have made a very conscious effort we could easily talk about current affairs in our show. We could easily do that, but we've chosen not to. We feel like people are getting plenty of news coverage and current affair information in other places, and we have chosen not to make Coffee Talk one of those places. However, we have chosen to traumatize you all with different information about creatures that we are afraid of. I'm not sure how this happened. Basically, you know, when we're getting ready for our show, we talk about what different things are going on in each other's lives that might be fun to commiserate about. And if you've watched any of the previous episodes, you've learned that Megan hates spiders and that I hate mice. Mice are cute. I can look at them in a picture, but do not come near me. So, Kim, do you have anything that you are afraid of, any creatures?
In terms of animals?
Anything.
Not a fan of snakes, as many people are.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
No, not a fan of snakes. And I just saw this article about some snakes that are now flying snakes.
Oh yeah, flying snakes.
So I wasn't thrilled to hear about that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully they're not in Southborough, but.
Yep, and we now have like murder hornets to add to.
Hornets.
Yep.
Flying snakes.
Yep. I was listening to, I'm a big fan of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. I don't know if anybody else listens to that, but they were saying you should really see those vehicular homicide bees. They're dangerous. Instead of that made me laugh. Anyway, Shannon, yesterday I heard that your children, one of your sons, asked you a very difficult question. Do you care to share? Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Kim, my fear is also snakes.
Okay.
And, you know, like they're fine-ish, but for me, it's like how they get around that really bothers me. It's like, you know, to get someplace from point A to point B, like you kind of need legs or wheels to be able to get there quickly. And snakes don't. And even flying snakes, I can kind of almost get it, because it's like, you know, like the snake's like, I'm gonna scrunch myself up, I'm gonna let it go, like, and then it flies across. Like, that makes sense to me. But just to be like, I'm gonna go right now across this like walkway in front of Shannon, right when she gets there, and now, like, that's just doesn't, you know. And you have a clip. I'll tell you my story in a second. You have a clip, right, Sarah? Of
Yes,
like,
I do.
You know,
Yes, of how Shannon feels.
Yep.
Yep. Let me. Here we go.
If you can't get it, I'll tell you my story.
I've got it. I've got it. So this is a classic movie right here. Hopefully the internet doesn't create problems.
Because the cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. Everybody's picking up on that feline beat, because everything else is obsolete. Now a square with a home makes you wish you weren't born every time he plays.
It's a tank of snakes.
With a square in the act, he can set music back to the caveman days. I've heard some corny birds who tried to sing, but a cat's the only cat who knows how to swing, who wants to dig along a gig or stuff like that, when everybody wants to be a cat.
I love how he comes flying out of there, like jumping as if to inspire them to fly.
Square with a home makes you wish you weren't born every time he plays. But with a square in the act, you can set music back to the Stone Age days. Everybody wants to be a cat, because a cat's the only cat who knows where it's at. We're playing as you always have a welcome back.
The fish.
Cause everybody digs a swinging cat.
Oh,
So
my video
he
is still
just-
going on here. Hold on.
You can keep enjoying
Stop.
that. So he amazes me because he actually saves the snakes. And so we're all in the car yesterday, and my oldest, who will be 12 next week, says to me, Mom, if you had to save us, if like the only way to save us, you had to jump into a pool of snakes, would you do it?
Ooh.
And so everybody in my family hates me now because no, I
No.
won't. Then I thought about it later, you know, it's like I have to ask him what he meant, because if it was like scenario one would be like jump in the snake pool or everybody gets it. Maybe, but like if scenario B is like they're like, help, we're in the snake pool. Like, why do they need a fourth person in the snake pool?
They can get themselves out.
They can get themselves out. They got it themselves in there in the first place. So I don't see that it's my problem to take them out.
That's right. That's right.
So what about you, Kim? Would you jump in to save people in the snake
Oh my
pit?
goodness, that's a good question.
This was not in the.
I don't know. I know we had we had every so often we get I bring in animal performers, and they bring in a whole bunch of animals to show the kids and all this. So we had this one where the guy had this like 15-foot long snake. And so we called up a whole bunch of kids to help hold the snake, and they're all very eager to hold the snake because they are braver than me. And usually I'm standing at the back of these programs, but for some reason I was at the front. So I'm finding myself like right next to the snake's head as all these kids are holding it. And I kept thinking, please nobody drop it. Don't drop it. Nobody drop the snake. Please don't drop the snake. And I'm trying to flatten myself against the wall. So that, which, doesn't move the wall. Nobody dropped the snake.
Can you imagine? So the library has had its share of issues that have caused reason for closure.
Right.
I would love to see, if the post that the library puts up, sorry, the library is currently closed because there is a python loose in the children's room and we can't find it.
Yes.
So until we find the python, the library is closed.
Yes.
That would be awful.
We hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So far, all of the animals that have come in with people have left with people.
Okay.
That's good.
Good.
That's a good thing.
Because probably
Wonderful.
you'd be like a tax attorney now or something, right?
Yes. So we thank Kim again for coming on today. Part of the reason, when I think of summertime, especially summertime this particular summer, I think a lot of us think about reading. And we wanted to have Kim on to talk to us about reading because I am actually not really sitting amongst, because we're all in different places, but on this call, I am in the midst of some very avid readers. Kim, I know that you go through books like crazy, so do Megan and Shannon. And so we make use of something, not a term that we've made up, but bibliotherapy. So Megan, I know that you use this a lot, both personally and in your work here at Youth and Family Services. Tell us more about what bibliotherapy is.
Sure. So when we think about bibliotherapy, there's kind of two different directions that can go in. So the first is the one that I think people think of more commonly when you're thinking of therapy in books is reading books for mental health purposes. So that might be like a workbook that has exercises that you're guided through, or even information, some like psychoeducation about mental health and what someone might be experiencing. Also self-help books, a lot of people pick those up even without being in a therapeutic setting. So they're doing bibliotherapy without even knowing. So that's one path that bibliotherapy can take. Then there's the other one, which is reading for pleasure, because reading for pleasure in itself can be very therapeutic. A lot of people think about it in terms of escapism, trying to get a break from, especially with everything that's going on right now, a lot of people are looking for a break. And so reading a book where it can take you away into this other world, or just getting into someone else's story can be really therapeutic and a huge stress reliever. And so there's those are the two different ways that bibliotherapy can be used in therapy, but also in anyone's daily life. You don't have to actually be working with a therapist to do something like that.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything to add to that in terms of when you think of reading as a form of, we have our therapist hat on here, but in general, when we think of reading as a form of therapy, I think that most people can relate to that. So maybe the better question is, since all of us I think that for me, I'm not as accomplished a reader as the three of you are, but what would you say, are the positive effects of reading that you all have had and how reading has helped you personally, and in terms of the effects that reading has had on stress reduction or mental health, or just improving quality of life. What other things do you guys see there?
I think reading can connect you with a lot of people too, because say, like book clubs, for example, is one.
Yeah,
when everybody's reading the same book, or and even in the library, that somebody will come in and they request a book that maybe one of the staff members has read and it's really good, so we can talk about that, and then other books that we like, or recommend books or something like that, so you can sort of bond with people over books. So I know that there was, when I was working upstairs during the flood, there was a patron that I don't always see the adult patrons because I'm in the children's room, but the children's room was closed. And so every time I returned a book, it would go on hold for this one particular patron. And then every time she returned a book, it would go on hold for me. So we realized that we were reading all the exact same books that we like. So, we formed this connection over books that we never would have had previously.
I love that too, because, again, right now it's really hard for us to connect with one another with so many things being closed and for social distancing reasons. That's not even something that I thought of, Kim, that book groups or commiserating with people over a shared reading experience is a really nice way to have contact with people right now, and find something to find people to be connected with who are of like mind. Yeah,
Megan and I are a part of the Thursday night book club that the Southborough Library does, and it's been so fun. It's just like, books are my favorite thing to do and to talk about, and to be with people who also that's their thing. And sometimes we talk about TV shows, and it's
when someone mentions a book that we've read or we want to read, it's like, oh, tell me about that, or let's talk about it. Definitely that connection.
And isn't your list so long? So in full disclosure, this is probably, it's a source of frustration for me, but reading makes me so relaxed that I fall asleep. So it takes me a very long time plus the only time I have to read is at the end of the day, but it takes me a very long time to get through books. So I'd argue that reading can be very helpful for relaxing and thus help you fall asleep.
It's actually great. That's a great point, Sarah, because a lot of people, what we use to fall asleep, the last thing we're doing is checking our phones, reading news things, and blue light is terrible for sleep. And to come into to make that a habit, to put the phone away, charge the phone, put it away, and bring the book, even if you're reading a couple of pages a night, it's good for your health.
I found that during the whole closures in March and April, I was actually a bit unsettled because I had advance notice. So I was lucky enough that I could stock up on books, and I probably brought home 40 books. I brought home books for me and books for my husband, and I dropped off books at my parents' house, and my hairdresser texted me and said I need books, and I dropped books off at the salon before she closed, and I made sure that everybody had books. And then everything closed, and it was so unsettling that for one of the only times in my life I couldn't read, and I couldn't focus on anything that required any concentration. So I went out. I mean, I'm a runner, so the only thing that calmed me down was running and walking. So I was doing like 10-12 miles a day, running and walking, to try to just calm down and get out of the house. And every time I tried to read, I just could not focus on that. I think with all the uncertainty about everything, and then that was even more unsettling. But I did talk to a lot of people who have found the same thing, because everything was, it's just so unsettling. But to go to sleep, I found out that I always read before I go to sleep, but I had to read because, my husband can drink a cup of coffee at 9 o'clock at night. turn out the light, roll over, and start snoring. And, you know, I can't do that, but especially during this whole time, I couldn't. And so I found that in order to just sleep and not have my mind go, you know, 5 million different ways, I had to read until I fell asleep with the light on, with a book on my stomach. And that's the only way that I could get to sleep every night for weeks and weeks and weeks.
That's a source of comfort. It's like a blankie.
Yeah.
Your book, your security book.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's nice. So, and I also know, you know, we touched upon this. I don't know, I want to ask you, Kim, about what's available at the library right now, but we talked about self-help topics that are available in books. We are a collector of books over here. We have a number of, when we aren't able to see people on an ongoing basis, we entrust many different books to people to try to offer support in between times that we're able to talk to folks. So we have a number of books here that we like to recommend. And I imagine that at the library too, you guys also have some of the same books. I think we take up books sometimes to familiarize ourselves with different resources. So, so certainly there are a number of books available on different subject matter, things from, you know, stress management to navigating a divorce, or, you know, navigating the loss of a loved one, you know, all sorts of things. So we have plenty of recommendations for books on different subject matter. We're happy to share those if you have questions about any of them. And we know that the Southborough Library also carries some of those books. But Kim, tell us a little bit more, since we've spent some time sort of highlighting the benefits of reading and why in particular this time of year, and this year in particular, why reading might be helpful to a lot of people. Talk to us a little bit about what kinds of programs and services are currently available at the library.
Well, obviously, we've got limited services right now, and hopefully they will continue to expand. But probably the biggest we have right now is the curbside pickup, which has been in place for a few weeks. It's actually really fun because it's so, I think, such a boost, a mental boost for both the staff and the patrons to be able to, I'm so happy when I see our patrons and when I talk to them on the phone. And I've had so many people say, oh, it's so good to hear your voice, and, because it's been so long. And people are so happy that they can get books again. So that is a big thing. And so, it's very easy. We have an email that I think is going to go onto the screen in the final version, but you can email our director and put in requests. You can put books on hold in the catalog. You can call us and we will get the books. What I'm finding is a lot of people in the children's room are calling and saying, hey, can you pick out 15, 20 books for my kids? And that I'm actually really having a good time doing, because I'm kind of imagining what it's going to be like when they open the bag, and I hope they like everything. And so that's been a lot of fun. And so this has been really popular. We've had so many people take advantage of this. It seems like we're doing orders all day long, which is great. So I'm really happy that people are wanting library books and wanting to come back. For the kids, we're also doing summer reading. We, obviously usually do a huge in-person summer reading program that all had to be revamped over, April and May. And so we're doing a 9-week sort of summer reading at home but we do have packets you can pick up every week that have activities and a craft from starting in the end of June and then going through late or mid-August, I guess. And then everything's on our website for that. So we do have, as many activities as we can do safely, or that we can, manage to work out a way to do it at home. So we do have those services going on, and now we are in the library every day, so we can answer the phones and answer questions and anything like that if people have questions. We also still have a lot of online services. So like during the closure, when we were all at home, everybody worked on Reader's Advisory, so that we now have a much expanded Reader's Advisory section on our website. So it's adult, young adult, children's, audiobooks. So that's on there. There's the club, the virtual reading circle that Shannon mentioned. That's 8 o'clock on Thursday nights. We do also, if you don't have a library card, there's a form you can go to on our website that you can fill out. We can mail you a library card. We still have all the ebooks that you can do, so you can do it through either Overdrive and Libby, or you can go on Hoopla and get, Hoopla, there's no waiting period. You can get up to 12 books a month. And you can get your books that way if you prefer to do ebooks. And then also there's a whole bunch of different options on the website as well. We have Mango languages, so if you want to learn a new language during this time, including how to talk like a pirate, you can do that.
Arg.
And we've got, resume builders and newspapers and reference sites, Freegal, which is music. So there's a lot of other options still, if you would prefer to do things still virtually.
That's great. Yeah, I have to say I knew nothing about Libby or Overdrive before this, and I was pretty devastated initially when everything closed down that I had no new books to read.
Yes.
And somebody said, why not try Libby? And I was like, what the heck is Libby? Please tell me more. So I have been able to read. I mean, this is a perfect segue into what else I wanted to ask you. I personally love to hold a book, as I think many of us do.
I do too.
Yeah, and so Libby was great for me to be able to access books on my tablet when I didn't have an actual new book to read. Now that you guys are doing curbside pickup, and it sounds very popular, for folks who might be feeling a little bit anxious about the prospect of picking up materials from the library, tell us a little bit more about the precautions you guys are taking to keep people safe.
Well, so everything that was in the building before was just, sitting there, first of all, for months, because nobody was there. And then we are getting quite a few returns in our book drops. So I empty the book drop daily. I have my mask and gloves on, and then everything goes onto a cart. And then that cart gets a date on it, stuck on it, and it goes into the meeting room where all the carts are quarantined. So we are told that 72 hours is the amount of time that it will take to make sure that everything is safe. So so every day empty the book drop and put the sticker with a date on the cart, and then take the cart from the previous 72 hours ago and check those in. And then all the other carts are sitting there until their 72-hour time period is up.
Okay.
So, and then when you pick up your books, everything is in a paper bag and stapled shut so that nobody else can touch them or anything like that.
Great. Wonderful. Well, I hope that in talking about reading today, that anybody who's been thinking about taking out books, or has a relationship with books and with reading, that maybe wants to return to, that a book is like an old friend, that you return to it, and if you haven't been reading, that you feel inspired to pick a book back up, just for, again, all the reasons we highlighted, the opportunity to escape to a different story, to a different world for a little while, for relaxation purposes, or if you're struggling with something in particular right now, to get some help on a particular situation. There's so many excellent books out there to help with many of those things. And if you need any recommendations for those, please feel free to reach out to us. Although, our knowledge is limited. We don't know every book that exists, but we certainly have some suggestions.
And we are also happy to help you with anything that we can help you with.
That's
Absolutely.
Right. So thank you, Kim, for joining us today. We're again so appreciative to have you, and we hope that you continue to have more and more visitors there over at the library after being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, sure. It's our pleasure. Next week, we are taking the week off because, believe it or not, my family and I are paying money to go sleep in the woods. So yes, we are camping next week. So we're going to take a coffee break. And we will be coming back to you on Tuesday, July 21st. We will have Carrie Toole with us. Carrie is a licensed clinical social worker. We have worked with Carrie many times. She's done some parent workshops with us, and she's also the director of Castlebrook Counseling. So our plan to have Carrie on, we're hoping to talk about different types of therapy. There's a lot of acronyms that are thrown around, especially when people are looking for help and maybe they're not sure what kind of therapy might be the best fit for them. So we're going to talk to Carrie a little bit more about that. And we encourage you, at the end of this show, we're going to share our contact information with you all. We'll also share, as Kim mentioned, we'll share Kim's information. But if you have a particular topic or a particular person that you would like to see us have on the show, please write into us. Let us know your thoughts, your ideas. And we want to thank you all again for joining us today. Have a wonderful weekend. No, it's Tuesday. Have a wonderful week. Take care, everybody.